When you're ready.
Are stem cell therapies effective? Yes, stem cell therapies are effective. However, there are economic and ethical issues that need to be addressed and resolved before these remedies can be considered medical treatments. I will be looking at the scientific lens, Zoe will be looking at the economic, and Natalie will be looking at the ethical. Scientifically, we have found sufficient evidence that stem cell therapies are effective. There are an array of types of solutions in clinical trials that have seen exponential growth. The most common and established therapy is bone marrow transplants. Reported by Pam Randolph and Shannon Wiggum from Texas State University in 2020. As of January 2020, the U.S., the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has only approved 17 stem cell therapies, all of which are used in treatments of blood malignancies. As reported by Rita and Natalie from Penn State in 2020. In 2018, Parkinson's disease was the first approved clinical trial where doctors used induced pluripotent stem cells, iPSCs, that were allogeneic cells so that genetic influence was avoided. 29 patients that had this disease were recruited into the trial. The doctors gave the patients immunosuppressive medications to avoid any reactions to the operation. The results have revealed that this treatment is safe and is working. As you can see, they take fibroblasts from the patient, use dedifferentiation to mutant the iPSC line, then they correct it to make it perfect using genome editing. They use differentiation to mature the DA neurons, and then lastly, they do safety checks to make sure that everything is working properly before they reinsert it back into the patient's brain. Also, Ali reports this. Japan has recently gotten approval for a stem cell operation for spinal cord injuries. The team has recruited 13 patients with spinal cord injuries. The team isolates stem cells from each patient's bone marrow. After isolating the stem cells, they reinsert it back into the patient's spine. This resulted in the patient regaining the loss of sensation and mobility. As you can see, they take stem cells from the bone marrow, isolate them, and then reinsert back into the damaged spinal cord. The spinal cord is still not fixed, but that blue area represents what has been regained. Looking at just a few of these clinical trials, you can see that stem cell therapies are indeed effective. However, there are economic issues that need to be addressed before these remedies can be affordable for all patients. Here is Zoe with the economic lens.
Thank you, Lucia. Even though significant advances regarding stem cell therapies have surfaced in recent years through treating numerous effects, there's still substantial economic issues that need to be resolved in order for these issues to be considered effective. One predominant issue driven by stem cell therapy is the amount of debt clients undergo due to these procedures. A study conducted at the University of Alabama in Birmingham, also known as UAB, studied two various orthobiologic therapies, one being somatic cell injections and the other one being platelet-rich plasma cell injections, also known as PRP. Both procedures include inserting new healthy cells into a dysfunctional area in the body. The researchers at UAB discovered the cost per treatment for PRP injections, which starts at a base of $175 and works its way up to $4,973 with a mean average of $707. The same researchers at UAB also discovered the cost per treatment of somatic cell injections, with the base being $300, working its way up to $12,000 with a mean average of $2,728. According to Merrill at the University of South Carolina, the cost of these treatments raises an economic concern due to the fact that only 77% of these treatments were reported successful. Therefore, thousands of dollars can be spent on an unsuccessful outcome. Another subject that correlates with the economic issues concerning stem cell therapy is insurance coverage. Certain healthcare insurance companies such as Aetna and Medicare have announced that their establishments refuse to support their customers' stem cell procedures, especially the procedures regarding chemotherapy. The reasoning behind this is that the clinics have failed thus far to prove that their procedures are more effective and efficient compared to standard chemotherapy. When the therapies first arose, insurance coverage denied nearly 100% of all the cases due to the company's views, which considered the treatments as experimental and not worth the risk. This issue caused people to search for alternate ways to pay off the bills that left them thousands of dollars in debt. Even though these treatments are predominantly effective, ethical issues still surface, all of which require resolution before these therapies are viewed as morally right to perform. Here's Natalie with the ethical lens.
Although there is a significant amount of scientific evidence that supports the fact that stem cell therapies are effective, there are numerous ethical challenges that need to be addressed before these therapies can be considered effective. One preeminent issue surrounding stem cell therapies is stem cell tourism.
According to the New England Journal of Medicine, this term refers to the growing number of unregulated and unproven clinics that claim to perform stem cell therapies. Often found in developing countries like China and Argentina, these clinics attract patients from all over the world who are hoping to cure a disease or fix a perceived cosmetic flaw. These patients, however, are not aware of the negligible validity of these clinics, nor are they aware of the possible risks and side effects that come along with these therapies. The clinics exploit these victims who are suffering and desperate for treatment, taking their money and providing them with care that is inefficient at best and at worst could bring considerable harm to the patient. There are little to no warnings online about stem cell therapies, meaning that patients can end up with life-altering side effects they had no prior indication of. As you can see on these graphs, the majority of health organization websites do provide some information about stem cells. However, less than 20% of them contain warnings or cautions about stem cell therapies and their possible side effects. This makes it very difficult for patients to do their own research before having these therapies. There are possible solutions to this issue. According to the New England Journal of Medicine, the risk to patients would be significantly reduced by increasing the amount of patient education about the possible risks of stem cell therapies, as well as increasing the amount of investigation into these clinics. In conclusion, despite the ethical and economic issues such as stem cell tourism and high patient costs, stem cell therapies are overall effective because of their capacity to be used for treating things such as spinal cord injuries.
Thank you. So, a few questions. Lucia, could you describe how the content of your team presentation was changed as a result of group discussion?
We originally found evidence that supported stem cell research being completely effective, such as the clinical trials that we read in the articles that you gave us. However, as we further explored the ethical and economic lens, our evidence supported our thesis that stem cell therapies are effective scientifically. However, there are significant economic and ethical issues that need to be solved before it can be considered overall effective, such as the cost being reduced and the help of insurance, and the fact that clinics do not get sufficient information about the treatment that patients will receive, like the risks.
Thank you. Zoe, reflecting on Lucia and Natalie's work, which one had the greatest impact on your overall understanding of the problem your group identified?
I found that Natalie's research had the most significant impact on understanding the problem. This is because as I was researching economic issues, ethical issues concerning opinions towards if the procedures are morally right to perform surfaced often. This is connected to my research because if the public views the therapies as wrong, then the popularity rates of the treatments decline, which decreases the procedure prices due to the lack of demand.
Okay, thank you. And Natalie, what is the way in which your team's solution makes you think differently about your own individual research?
Well, looking from just my lens, the ethical lens, it seems like stem cell therapies are not effective at all. However, when you include Lucia's scientific lens, you can see how they are effective for treating things like spinal cord injuries.
Okay, thank you. Are you done? Can I cut you off? Are you done? Okay. All right, come on, have a seat. Yeah. Might be. Might be.
Nice job. Nice job. Nice job. Nice job. Well done. Well done.
Okay, Joe.
Can I please